I've been listening to music ever since I can remember. And then one day, I heard a song that hurt me back. So I turned myself into a tape, recording stories from people who made my life sound better. Because every song is a conversation. Waiting to begin.
You've had a consistent affair with the advertising world.
Yeah.
You've always performed jingles, be it for BPL or Airtel or Nerolac.
I did the Maldives tourism as well.
Yeah, right? Which brings me to ask you this pertinent question about the industry itself. There's this divide between purists...
Airtel for Seychelles, yes, sorry.
There's this, sorry?
You said Airtel, so I was like, Airtel? Yeah, Airtel for Seychelles.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I want to ask you this predominant question about this divide between some purists in the industry looking at the advertising world itself. It's sort of always looked at with the sense of derision, like it's a lesser work of art. Until someone like a Rahman does something really tasteful with it, and it still remains art for art's sake. Do you enjoy advertising, or is it something you have to put yourself through as a musician?
You know
Honestly.
what? A very good question, Nitin. For me, advertising music, or for that matter, music that's actually given for that little space and time, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That's what a musician is all about. You need to communicate. You need to actually deliver your message through those 10 or 15 or 20 seconds. I think that's a musician.
Yeah.
You have an entire... See, I would look at a film song as an extended advertising song or advertisement song.
Because you're selling an emotion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a 4.5, 5 minute long jingle.
Of the story itself.
I would put it this way. A 4.5, 5 minute jingle is a film song.
Oh, yeah, interesting looking at it that way.
Yeah, for me, it's like... And for that matter, you know, these are all catchphrases in a song. If it has to be A.R. Rahman's
Yeah.
That's the catchphrase in the
Yes.
song. And Intel pum pum,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. And you look at so many other...
Anything you worked on that you're really proud of?
Jingle?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's one, like I said, Maldives tourism. It goes, a little bit of Maldives in your life, a little bit of Maldives in mine. Everybody needs to feel well to be well. Everybody needs some sun. Everybody needs loads of fun. Everybody needs a roll in the sand. Everybody needs to walk hand in hand. A little bit of Maldives in your life. You need a little bit of Maldives in your life.
Nice, nice.
It's called the sunny side of life, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I want to skip a few years again, George, and talk about what travel's done to your music. You've toured extensively across the world with A.R. Rahman as choir master for his live gigs, which is again amazing to even consider. What has long distance done to your music? And I ask you this because music has always been associated with the idea that it brings two people who have otherwise nothing to do with each other. It sort of gives them a common currency to deal with. That's the higher purpose of music.
Very true.
And when you travel to foreign lands, where you're meeting strangers who get affected by your music, what does that do to your sense of music? Do you remember experiences that have really blown your mind off stage and on stage, in terms of what music does to people from all over the world?
Yes. In fact, For that matter, we did this concert at the Hollywood Bowl. And, you know, A.R. Rahman, the phenomenon, his music being appreciated by the entire world is something that I saw in front of my eyes. Because at the Hollywood Bowl, which is like an amphitheater, and it's like way up like that. It's one of the most prestigious venues in the world where you can actually perform, a musician for that matter. Right from Elvis Presley to Beatles to Frank Sinatra to all the big names in the industry have been there. Well, to actually walk with A.R. Rahman on that stage and sing or rather do choral arrangements for his
I can't even begin to imagine.
His band. Yeah. And to have why I'm saying this is because they have this entire it's like there's this university there which actually came in to sing Vande Mataram. And one of the concerts in another venue in the US when we did on a prior tour had this entire college, university of all the Americans, I'm talking about whites, them singing A.R. Rahman songs. And that was overwhelming, and I couldn't actually pinch myself to even believe the fact that, I was also part of it.
See what music can do sort of movement.
Exactly, right? And universal, as you said, common currency. That's what it's all about. That's what music is all about. It connects with everybody. And the way by which A.R. Rahman's music, for that matter, mattered to the world. His genre is world music, yeah?
Yes.
And that's what I relate to. I listen to a lot of Peter Gabriel as well. Sting is my all-time favorite. And when you look at all that, A.R. Rahman is again a legend of sorts. I mean, a legend of legends in that matter, for that matter. And to come to the point that this entire entourage of people who actually are on the concert are just big time blessed. It's an experience, Nitin. I can't put it to words.
Sure. George,
I'm even as I'm talking to you, I'm not sure on what to say because I can't find the words to express that. You know what I'm saying?
It's a phase, I think, that's still sort of sinking in, because it doesn't happen every other day to any artist.
No.
George, let's talk about your induction into film music, your directorial sorts, Heartbeats.
Yeah.
Now, it's both wonderful and heartbreaking at the same time to talk about it. Wonderful because, like I said, I thought it was way ahead of its times. It's something people try to replicate to this day. And it's heartbreaking because I thought it went largely undernoticed as an attempt in itself. Do you want to tell us about how the whole thing came together, the backstory, the songs?
Yeah, well, one of my friends. Well, this happened during. I met Laljo some time back. Again, that was actually for a concert for the blind. And that was at the Le Méridien here, at the convention center, where I wrote a song for the blind. And Didi was also there, I think, yeah. And Laljo's kind of, I got a little close with Laljo's because he's the one who directed the entire event. Wow. And I had a rapport with him going. And so one of the shoots that he was having for one of his movies, I'd gone to meet him, just say hi to him as a friend. We were just joking around and stuff like that. So there's this guy who came in called Jolly Joseph, Lalu's very close friend. So he said, we were just, having a lot of fun, basically talking and joking and stuff like that, laughing and stuff. When Jolly said, George, you like to do a movie? I said, of course. You're doing my next movie. So I said, wow, sounds good. At that time I was with AR for that matter. And maybe all those things kind of summed up to this.
Came together,
Yeah. And then, why didn't you do a movie? I mean, why didn't you do the music for my movie? I said, great, I'll do it. I was like more than
Were
excited.
you prepared for something like that?
Prepared in the sense, like I said, it's the only strength that I had was doing jingles. And when I said that, a movie song is like an extended jingle, so that's the only strength that I have, that I could do it. And working with AR for that matter, I had this kind of feeling that I could. I mean, not overconfident. But of course, I always wanted to do my own stuff, Anybody, for that matter, wants to. Most of them. So, he told me, why didn't we sit on this song? And that was around the time, during conversations, Lalu also decided, then do one thing, you're going to act in my next movie. That's when I got into Chandaputta. I still remember we were just joking around and I played Bamboleo,
Play us that, right? It's really lovely.
Bamboleo is
Delightful.
Deseamos llegar sin esta manera, boche nella curva, caballo en strana, porque hemos de presano, por eso no de por donde llorar. Bamboleo, bamboleo, something like that.
This is way before Zindagi Na Milegi, right? Jesus, yeah.
So of course, by the Gypsy Kings, it's their song. So I kind of jammed the song. And Lalu said, George, you're on my next movie. And one more thing I added to it. He was like, where in the group? I said, I can do this. Check my items up. I did this thing with my eye.
Yeah, remember.
Yeah, so I did that and I did something with my lip and he said, you're bang on, you're in the movie.
This is Naku Penta or something like that.
Then he asked me if I knew Malaika. And I sang, Malaika, Naku Pende Malaika, Malaika, Naku Pende Malaika, Namini Fanyeje, Kijin Wenzio. Something like that.
Lovely. Yeah. Very happy, delightful little number.
So then he said, okay,
And this was by the beach, I remember.
I know. We had a lot of fun.
Really nice.
So we had a lot of fun on that set. So that happened. Anyway, so then Jolly asked me, why didn't you do this? I met him with a few melodies of mine. He said, nice man, nice songs. Girish lyrics. I was like, wow, amazing. So I had this opportunity to meet Girish in his room. He was like sitting on his bed and he was like, Kekata. Short-tempered. But not short-tempered, he's very impulsive. So he was like going on, he was actually going on reading a book. And he listened to these tracks on my on the headphones I gave him. He said, nice, kolla. Aduthu, kettu. This is a structure. This is where I want to tell you. Sadharana partner structure. That variety. Okay. Charanam, Pallavi, Anganthur Sambam, Pallavi, Charanam, Angantha line allo. I said, the individual line Gina Pono. Popular. Melody Kolla. That's what he said. Melody Kolla, he just said Kolla. That's all he said. One of my tracks he actually listened to. After that, he just got up from his bed. He just held my hand. I was like, what is he about to say? Ondangi, Korpilla Mone, Namku Pinna Varkia, Nairiku. Because he decides, right, if he wants to write or not. He held my hand and he said, Pattu Vallathil, Ketirikkunna ettom nalla melody. He gave me that statement. I was like floored. And this is something that...
That's unheard of,
The great Girish
so
Patanjali.
vocal about something.
Yeah, I've never said this to anybody in any of the interviews. This is the very first time I'm actually saying it. He is now up in the heavens. But it's that moment when you realize that there's somebody who's at least appreciated what you've done.
Yes.
It's a song called Om Giridhari. Om Giridhari Pava Parihari Parabrahmamdi Om Giridhari da 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 Sri Krishna Hare Govinda Murare Namam Namomi Hari Om Krishna Krishna Dari Diri. Karthik sang the song. And somehow the picturization wasn't something that really appealed to people, I think. I don't know, for some reason it just didn't take off.
Yeah.
And when you actually know that these things are all just thrown into the bin, it hurts. But it's okay. You have to come back. You have to survive. There's another song that I wrote, Hey Miri Maya. That was actually a song for my album. I mean, it's like something that I was just writing a melody on, and I quite liked that. But that kind of made a lot of sense because that was a different mood altogether. It was like, hey, hey, kanal veil chanuvo, idu vaadumi, kavilodu chemumi, parayu. Miri mara tornuvo aro agale nin vili kelkum adilola marmaram. Something like that.
Lovely.
It was a nice piece. I mean, something that I could be happy about.
Yeah. George, I want to talk about one of the most definitive things I think you've done in your career, which is your incredible contribution on this colossal gem of an album called Rundy Basanti.
Yeah.
I always tell you how fabulous the film itself is, but the soundtrack I think sort of changed the scene for good because people are sort of benchmarking everything that happened in that film. Tell us about your contribution to that film.
I sent AR an email saying, Bossman or Bahmanapada Rahman, hope you're doing well. It's been a while. I'd like to meet you sometime. This is like around a month or so, and he was in the UK. So he just landed that morning, I didn't know. He said, George, come over to the studio, have some harmony works to be done. That's all he does. Okay? So that day, I drove down from Coimbatore to Chennai. I reached the studio. He said he was leaving that night for the UK again. He'd come in a day or two earlier. And he said, there's this track on top. Sit with KJ Singh and see what you can do. I said, what? See what you can do? Yeah, just add some harmony walks to it. I said, okay, let me go listen to the song. So I went and listened to the song. It was like, you know, it was Rubaru. Hey, Sala, Abi Abi, Hua Yakin, Darari, 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 Rubaru, Roshni, hey, Jogum Shuda, Sakamita, Woman, whatever. And the entire song went on like that. And he was like, do something. I was like, what will I do? What you've done? I mean, the genie is asking me to do something. KJ Singh, the great sound engineer, he said, George, just get into the booth, do what you can, man. So when he went, Jogum Shuda, I came with that. So I went with that and then I layered that. I added harmonies to that. And then we called it vocal brass. And we just went on and the song happened. 2 days later, AR comes back, gives me a tap on the back. Nice.
That's all he says.
That's all he says.
Yeah.
Nice. That went on to get Naresh Ayer's National Award.
Yeah, and it's probably the song of the year on every place you can think of. Hello. How about Kalbali?
Kalbali, yeah. Kalbali hai
What an
Kalbali.
incredible song, yeah.
That was again given to me. And Kalbali, Rubaru, there's a song Luka Chupi and Kunshala. Kunshala, the ending part, the entire harmony it's kind of eerie. It has to give out that feeling. So he told me that he wants something different. So he made me listen to some tracks that he was like, that's how he works. You know, he basically gives you an idea as to, but he gives you your space. And then I went on to the console and I got these singers to sing it. It just worked magic. Kalbali, in fact, I've sung in the song. Kalbali hai Kalbali, Kalbali hai Kalbali. Kalbali hai Kalbali hai Kalbali. Shola shola balkhaye, dariya dariya lehraye. All the lehraye is me and Muhammad Aslam and Naresh. Zarra zarra tarraye hai Kalbali. You know, stuff like that. So,
George, one last thing. What next for George Peter?
the next is a project, something like one the Unity song, but on a global scale. It's a song which we call as the International Women Rights Song. This is based on all.
Timely.
I'm sorry.
Very timely.
Yeah. In fact, it all happened to me after I watched the movie called The Stoning of Soraya.
Yeah.
Man, that's something that happened in Iran some time back. And if you can watch it, it's actually banned in a few countries, I think. But The Stoning of Soraya. And the honor killings that happened in the UK, across the globe as well. After Jyoti Singh, Nirbhaya.
Sure.
After all the atrocities towards women. I've written a song called Freedom. And the movement is called the International Women Rights Song. And intend to give it to the United Nations.
Wow.
Yeah. So this has to go on a global scale. I'm planning to get singers on the chorus side. The chorus is Freedom. The song is called Freedom. So
can you play a little bit of that? Can you sing a little bit of that? Give us a little bit of that.
Like I said, let me be honest. When you told me, George, bring your guitar, I kind of prepped myself with a few chords here and there. I'm not much of a guitarist. I play guitar here and there, but I need to have a little bit of rehearsal before I do it. I've actually programmed the entire song on my keyboard. As in, like I said, I'm a self-taught guy. So if you ask me what chords I'm playing, I know the basic chords. But beyond that, it's just a talent. That's it. Talent, it's a gift, like I said earlier. She rises up along with the sun when the world's asleep. She starts her day with a word to be loved again. The scar lies beneath her skin. Hidden is her smile. Her amber eyes crave love. She's strong, yet so fragile. Something like that.
High five.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Some songs, they sound like the end of a really good weekend. You just want to sit back and appreciate all that's working for you. Talking to George comes pretty close to that feeling. Thank you for your music.
Thanks, Nitin. Thank you so much.